All right, let's talk about Magento. You've probably heard the name floating around, right? Especially if you're in the e-commerce world. It gets mentioned with the big players like Shopify. But what is it, really? What's the big deal? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and figure it out. First, to give you an idea of just how big of a deal it is, let's start with a number. Get a load of this. $155 billion. That's how much merchandise was sold through Magento-based systems in just 1 year. That's not just a big number. It's a sign that this thing is a serious engine in the world of online shopping. So what is this engine exactly? Well, at its core, Magento is an open source e-commerce platform. But what does that mean? Think of it this way. It's not a ready-made store. It's more like a super sophisticated, incredibly powerful set of building blocks that lets businesses create their online stores to be exactly what they need them to be. And it is an absolute digital powerhouse. I mean, that mind-boggling sales number we just saw, that comes from over 150,000 online stores all running on this one platform. It's a massive force in the digital marketplace, no question. So what's under the hood that gives it all this flexibility? It's the technology it's built on. Now, you'll see things like PHP, Laminis, Symfony, and look, you don't need to be a developer to get the main point here. The takeaway is that its architecture is what lets people customize and scale it to a crazy degree. It's complex, for sure, but for the right team, it is unbelievably powerful. But Magento didn't just pop into existence. Its backstory is, well, it's a classic Silicon Valley story. We're talking acquisitions, spin-offs, a real journey of identity. Let's trace how it went from this ambitious little startup to a crown jewel for a corporate giant. So the story starts back in 2007 at a small company called Varien. By 2011, it was making so much noise that eBay swooped in and bought it. But then things got complicated. After some restructuring at eBay, Magento was spun off and sold to a private equity firm in 2015, before, finally, the blockbuster deal where Adobe bought it in 2018. What a ride. And when I say blockbuster, I mean it. Adobe paid a whopping $1.68 billion for Magento. This wasn't just them buying a piece of software. It was a huge strategic move. They were integrating a best-in-class commerce platform right into their suite of marketing tools. But that whole journey wasn't always smooth sailing. This quote right here from co-founder Yoav Kutner says a lot. He said this when he left the company while eBay was in charge, and it really hints at the culture clash that was going on, this constant battle between Magento's open source DNA and its new corporate overlords. And all that history brings us to something that trips a lot of people up today. See, Magento isn't just one single thing. Right now, it basically exists as two different versions, and they each serve a totally different audience. On one side, you've got Magento Open Source. It's free, it's supported by a huge global community. It's perfect for developers and businesses who have the technical skills to build their own thing. Then, on the other side, there's Adobe Commerce. That's the big league, enterprise version. It's a subscription, you get official support from Adobe, and it comes packed with advanced features designed for huge companies. A really huge turning point for the platform was the release of Magento 2. And this wasn't just a simple update. They rebuilt the entire thing from the ground up. This brought massive speed improvements, a much more modern and sensible codebase for developers to work with, and just made it way more scalable than it had ever been before. It was a game changer. So what happened to good old Magento 1? This is where the whole open source thing gets really cool. Even after it was officially discontinued, the community just refused to let it die. A group created something called OpenMage, which is basically a community-led project to keep providing updates and security patches, keeping thousands of older stores running safely. You know, the software itself is only one part of the story. Magento's real strength, the thing that makes it so resilient, is the huge global ecosystem that has been built around it over more than a decade. That network is what makes it all work. And this ecosystem really stands on three main legs. First, you've got the solution partners. These are the certified agencies, the pros who actually build and customize the stores. Second, the technology partners. They create all the third-party extensions for payments, marketing, you name it. And finally, holding it all together is the community itself, this massive global network of developers and store owners all helping each other out. Now, when you look at a chart like this, you might think, whoa, 2.32%? That seems kind of small. But that number can be really deceptive. See, Magento isn't trying to be the platform for every single website on the internet.
it has a powerful niche. It mostly serves larger, more complex businesses, so its slice of the pie represents a much bigger chunk of actual online sales.
Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. With great power comes, well, you know the rest. A platform this powerful and this open also comes with some serious responsibilities, especially when it comes to security. So let's just ask the question head on. When you hand developers and store owners the keys to the kingdom like this, what are the potential downsides? Where are the weak spots? The main risks really come down to security. Because it's so popular, Magento is a huge target for hackers. You hear about things like credit card skimming attacks, sometimes called Mage Cart, where thieves sneak malicious code onto a site to steal payment info at checkout. But you know what the single biggest risk is? It's just neglect. Not keeping your store updated with the latest security patches is like leaving the front door of your business unlocked. But the good news is, you're not in this fight alone. Adobe is constantly working to stay ahead of these hackers. They regularly release critical security updates for both the free and the paid versions. The key is, it's up to the store owner to actually apply them and do it quickly.
So when you boil it all down, what's the bottom line? Magento is an absolute beast of a platform. It's scalable, it's flexible, you can make it do just about anything. But that power is a double-edged sword. It demands real expertise, not just to build the thing, but to maintain it and keep it secure for the long haul.
And that leaves us with one final big question about the soul of Magento. At its heart, is it still that scrappy, community-driven open source project, or is it now a polished, corporate-led product from Adobe? The answer to that question, and the tug of war between those two identities, is what will ultimately shape its future.